Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rum Regret podcast. I am Andy Drake.
Johanna Myers.
Nate Tussey, and we drink and we know things.
And today we are talking about the show that inspired our tagline, Game of Thrones.
Huzzah. Those were so much simpler times.
Oh, yes.
So here we are in the final season. Let's talk about sort of episodes 1 through 4, and then we can talk about episode 5, and then we'll do some finale predictions. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Excellent.
Let's do it.
All right. So I will defer to you guys on the assessment of 1 through 4. So, Johanna, what do you think?
I was really excited until after the Battle of Winterfell. I think all those episodes were pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just went somewhere else.
Okay.
Arya killing the Night King was epic. I loved that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think where episode 5 starts. They all kind of blend in for me right now.
So it's easy. It's easy for me because it seems like, and it feels like what everything that happened in episodes 1 through 3 could have been season 8, and then season 9 could have started with episode 4.
Yeah.
It seems that way for me. It really does seem like two separate sort of, two different storylines in terms of sort of what's going on.
Yeah, and I think it feels too rushed, which is why everybody's up in arms about what's going on. Is they're taking all this character development and changing it so rapidly that if there was more time to kind of make those plot points go organically instead of just whiplashing us to okay, now this is happening, and it's just we spent Jamie pisses me off so bad because we went through so many seasons of Jamie kind of on this redemption path, and you get to the point where okay, he sleeps with Brienne, which he never should have done anyway. And then all of a sudden it's all right, now I'm going back to Cersei because this is who I've always been. I am a monster, blah, blah, blah. And it's whoa, dude, my head just spun.
Yeah.
Yeah, this last episode really did a disservice to everything that came before it. But I don't want to go too deep into episode 5. But I guess the first couple, 1 and 2 of this season, were okay, just because they really were kind of setting up the rest of the episodes. I mean, the first one is basically the family reunited. It's the first time Jon sees Arya since the first season, basically.
Which that was an amazing reunion.
Yeah, there was a lot of great reunions in that episode. A lot of really kind of good character-driven pieces. So I think 1 and 2 specifically were my favorites. Were really the ones that I kind of could only really stand the most. They still missed a lot of things, and there's a lot of teleporting still, and a lot of the issues that have been plaguing the writing in Game of Thrones since they kind of reached the end of the source material.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of quick travel and just things that don't make sense and don't kind of stick with what have they set up so far. Episode 2, I think, was probably one of my favorites, where they're all getting drunk the night before.
Mm-hmm.
The Night King attacks and Brienne gets knighted, and Tormund has a bunch of his favorite lines.
Dude, the giant's milk.
Oh my god!
Yeah, exactly. And then episode 3 was Nightfall, right, or the Battle of
Battle of Winterfell. Yeah.
Yeah, there was so many things wrong with that episode, just strategically, tactically. Let's just send your cavalry out into the dark with flaming sword. They don't know what's out there. There's so many problems with the way they set up that defense and just basic tactics, which they've actually shown some pretty good examples of military strategy. Battle of the Bastards had good stuff. The defense of King's Landing, what is that? With the wildfire?
Blackwater Bay.
Blackwater Bay,
Yeah.
thank you. There's a bunch of good examples, and really just talk to a military advisor and make it decent. The last thing you would ever do is send your cavalry to the middle of the night. I mean, they could have set up spotting fires. They have all that artillery they could have used.
Yeah,
put it inside the trench wall line.
Yeah, like the trench wall was a great idea, and it was. I think that the two things about that battle that I thought were executed beautifully were basically all of Melisandre. Like the lighting of the Dothraki swords was awesome.
The visuals were amazing, but this season has turned into a Michael Bay movie. It's all, especially the last episode. I mean, it's all visual bang, and that's great, but the directions are all, like, every department kicks ass except for the writing this season.
Yeah.
It's very sloppy. But there's a couple great one-liners. I mean, so moving on from the battles, episode 4, when they're doing the celebrating, I love Tormund so much. Like, which one of you cowards shit my pants? That kind of stuff.
He's like the MVP of the last probably 3 seasons.
It's so great. I mean, that is the one area where the writing is actually consistently good is Tormund. And then I don't want to. I mean, there's a lot of details. Obviously, we're glossing over, but Jaime kind of cock blocking Tormund. Brienne gets upset when they're playing the drinking game. You're a virgin. And she goes to leave, and Tormund's like, "Oh, is this my chance?" And Jaime's like, "No, I got it."
Yeah.
It's like the star quarterback going after the nerd after she cleans up and looks good in 10 Things I Hate About You or whatever. Jesus. Yeah, and then we come up to episode 5, which is where I'll save my vitriol for that. What about you, Andy?
So I sort of agree and disagree with you on episodes 1 and 2. I feel like episodes 1 and 2 could have been a longer episode that, maybe make it a 90-minute episode to where the next episode, episode 2, is the battle. I feel like there was a little too much of awkward reunions.
Yeah.
And then you get the battle where sort of everybody's on the same page, so I did love the character development in 1 and 2, but I especially love I love the fact that we did not see a single White Walker up until the battle, right? So all we see is them going through Last Hearth, and we see poor little Lord Umber all strung up at the end of that episode, right?
Cannibalized.
Right.
Yeah. But we don't actually see a White Walker until the battle, which I thought was really good because it just creates that suspense even more. Like I said, I just think there was a little too much buildup prior to that battle, and the reason why I think there's too much buildup prior to that battle is because aside, and this is my big sort of asterisk here, is that aside from Jorah dying, he was the biggest death of that.
Hey, Theon, come on.
Well, yeah, but everybody should have died. It shouldn't have just been those guys, that wave of zombies. Nobody in the front line should have survived. Well, first of all, you don't have your commanders in the front of your army.
Right, yeah.
Would have killed everything. Everybody out there would have been dead.
Right, and how many times did Sam get tackled?
Oh yeah, where he's sitting on a pile of them, stabbing through his armpit holes, just crying. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, a lot wrong with that.
Yeah, so the deaths of episode 3, aside from Jorah, really didn't have a whole lot of weight. Yeah, Theon was great at the end, but he was never really established as a great warrior. Was he?
No, it's just he's a great archer.
A great archer, yeah. So he shows up at the end. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Theon had one of the best character arcs in the whole series.
Yeah, until this season.
He came back, told his sister, he's like, no, I want to fight for the Starks. I want to go up to Winterfell.
Yeah.
And he defended Bran to the last. I think he had, over the entire show, considering everything that he's been through. And I also thought it was funny, sorry, this is a total aside, that all of the guys that didn't have dicks were getting sort of the most play.
Good point. Yeah.
But Theon definitely had, I think, one of the more interesting character arcs. For a lesser character in the series, considering everything that he went through. So episode 3, I loved. I thought it was great. They did bank a lot on using fire during winter. I think that was a stupid move. And you guys lucked out that Melisandre just happened to show up and help out and light everything. Because otherwise you would have been screwed.
Yeah, your big thing is, this trench, the lighting of the trench that Dany's supposed to do, and she's just gone.
Well, she didn't do anything anyway because of the storm the Night King pulled in.
Right, yeah.
And why didn't he use his generals? Like all the other White Walkers on horseback.
Yeah, they were
set dressing.
Yeah, they were totally.
Right.
And Arya just runs past them all, and all you see is the wind in the guy's hair.
Yeah, but I think that's. I don't mind that. That comes down to her training and her being a badass.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm willing to look past that.
Well, I'm clearly.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All that time in Bravos, training to be a faceless man and trying, learning how to be silent and,
Yeah.
Right.
So that's kind of where that paid off. Of like, of course she can do this.
I guess. I mean, it's just a giant whites with generals and the Night King. Like, I don't know. It's just a lot.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, the main dude is facing off. Yeah, all your backup is just standing there watching you. It's like, come on, why aren't they shooting arrows at, making Bran a pincushion? I mean,
right.
He had to have his moment. They had to lock eyes and stare deeply into each other.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Considering they're the same person.
Theories.
Yeah.
And so, and then, I definitely love the fact that Arya had that kill. I thought the CGI on the dragon that had sort of half of its face eaten off.
Yeah, that was
cool. With Jon. I mean, that whole sequence was just amazing.
Yep.
But yeah, the deaths for me were just a little hollow, and I don't think no one I really cared about died in that battle, aside from Jorah. Like I said, Jorah had a great death. And Theon also had a great death, but again, if he lived or died, I didn't necessarily care.
Yeah, I think Beric Dondarrion had one of the best deaths in that too, when they're in the castle and Arya's trying to escape.
Oh yeah.
Like that was one of the things. So the military strategy just bugged the fuck out of me, and I couldn't get it out of my head, but I watched it again. And I like what they did. They kind of had 3 different acts in that episode where it was, kind of suspense, then action, then horror. Yeah. There were 3 different chapters, 3 different types. I loved the interior stuff inside the castle.
Oh, the library sequence.
The Jurassic Park kitchen scene.
Yeah.
It was so good. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. And I love the way that, as soon as Beric threw his flaming sword, I'm like, oh shit, he's fucking toast. That's bad, but I like the way that he went out. That was a good death for him.
Right. Yeah. And then episode 4, the party, the aftermath. Again, I thought all of that stuff was good. Yeah, the Jaime and Brienne stuff. I don't think that needed to happen.
Yeah, it was wholly unnecessary, and just I think it was a cheap payoff of Brienne finally got laid, yay! And then and now we get to see her ugly cry and Jaime break her heart and make me want to punch him in the face.
Yeah, I think it would have been more powerful if they started to get it on, and then Jaime stopped it and said, "Well, no, I'm still addicted to Cersei."
Yeah, he was drunk.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah. We all do stupid shit when we're drunk.
I mean, episode 4 had so many good things, like puking isn't partying, and Tormund's like, yes, it is.
Yeah.
You get the Starbucks cup. sitting on the table.
Oh my god.
I rewatched it. As soon as I saw it online, I came home and then I rewatched the episode. I was like, 18 minutes in. Starbucks cup.
Yeah.
Danny does total crazy eyes in that scene where Tormund's like talking up Jon Snow and who rides a dragon, the crazy king kind of thing, and she's got crazy eyes already. That's something. To your point, Andy, the first couple episodes, or maybe 1 through 4, like you said, could have been season 8.
Yeah.
And the rest of it could have been a shortened season. And so I think maybe one of the reasons you think that there was too much exposition and character stuff in the first couple is that we're dreading the end. There's only 6 episodes. Holy shit. If it was a 10-episode season, maybe those first 2 would be okay. And maybe there was more time, more runway. And that's one of the things we'll talk about with episode 5. Like, they really made some sharp turns that they didn't set up properly, and I think it's one of the reasons why that people are backlashing so hard. Because you spent 7 years developing characters and then just right turn kind of thing.
Yeah, but all of the characters we spent time with in the first 2 episodes didn't die in episode 3. So, I understand they're getting me to remember why I really like these characters, why I like them interacting. I have been rewatching the series, and so, the Hound and the Arya stuff was especially, sort of fun, for me. And then even her interaction with the Hound and Pedro Dondarrion when they're up on the wall there, like I said, it would have had just a little more weight if there were a little more poignant death in episode 3.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even Ghost, who's charging in at the front lines, just who's here, that's it, kind of thing.
I love all of the people who are up in arms about Ghost.
I'm so pissed.
I think
Ghost. He's such a good boy, and he gets no love.
I think it's the funniest thing that people are so upset about this.
It's important. It's a character that they just completely ditched, and then there he is.
Yeah, what is it? Just give the boy a pat on the head. Come on, he's your loyal companion.
He gets 0. So I actually found
shove him aside. Here, Tormund, you can take my dog. It's fine. I
found some notes that I took watching episode 4, and apparently I was drinking with some of the stuff I wrote down. But I made notes of all of Tormund's great things. Which one of you cowards shit my pants? And then poor Gendry, he gets elevated to a lord, and then realizes she's just not that into him.
Right.
There was a great meme that was like, it's the destiny of all Baratheons to get shot down by Stark women. That's how it started when Lyanna shot him down. Let's see. That was a very overacted scene, I thought, because I would think that was out of Gendry's kind of character to do that. And why would you ever, if you knew Arya at all, you would never say, "Be my lady," because that's like the antithesis of what she is. The one I really liked the Jaime wants to climb a blonde mountain kind of thing. I think that happens in the next episode when they talk about it, where Tyrion's like, "You're gonna have to climb for it" or something like that. That was so great. So the quote that I wrote down, it's like, Jaime wants to climb a blonde mountain. I put in quotes, "It's hot in her," because he keeps like, "Oh, it's so hot." He's taking off his clothes. And then I wrote, "She must look like she has Pele in a leg lock." So I think that's in reference to her giant blonde bush.
Oh.
Is it this episode when Jon tells his sister what's going on? His sisters, what's happening?
Yes.
Yeah.
That does not happen before the battle. It happens before they go to King's Landing.
Yeah, right. And so
don't tell anybody, and Sansa just goes and tells everybody.
Yeah, so that was one of the things I wrote down, like not getting reactions, underline. No reaction from Arya and Sansa. Pissed me off. No reaction from Sansa telling Tyrion. Pissed me off. No reaction from Tyrion telling Varys. Pissed me off. Come on! That's a very important moments. Like, we need
at least somebody be like, "What the fuck, really?"
Yeah, and then I put Ghost gets 0 pets ... frowny face. And then the last quote I have from Tormund here, which is out of order, is, "You weigh as much as 2 fleas fucking." When he's talking about, why aren't you riding on your dragon south? Like, the dragon's heard, way too much. You weigh about as much as 2 fleas fucking. Which is, again, brilliant.
Yeah, if we could just get like a Tormund and Ghost spin-off show, I would be there for it.
There's so many memes online right now. I saw one where they're sledding down a hill together, like in the far north. Just so good times.
Yeah, I agree with the lack of reaction, but regardless, sure, Jon's parentage was a big story through this, but it only I can't say this. I was going to say it only really matters to Dany.
No,
it doesn't, because now the fact that he has the legitimate claim to the throne. But if we really want to talk politics here and claims to the throne, right? So anybody who's been king, right? Any offspring of a deceased king has claim to the throne.
Not bastards, though.
Not bastards, right.
Well, somebody just got unbastarded, who is the actual son of the king, so Gendry actually...
Right, but Robert's a usurper. He's not actually...
But he was king. He was recognized as king.
He was, but go back farther, and that's Jon.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where this is where it gets fuzzy for me. All right? The Targaryens were overthrown.
Right.
Okay? By Robert Baratheon. Okay?
Right. But
Baratheon was king for over 17 years.
Right, but for him to be legitimized as king, there had to have been no heirs left from the Targaryens. That's why he killed the kids. That's why he had the kids killed. Okay,
so the fact that Viserys and Dany were Luke and Leia away,
yeah,
never legitimized Robert's king.
Well, it would, right? If they had supporters, you heard what's his name before Dany killed him, before
Varys
killed him. Her brother, yeah,
Viserys.
Yeah, Viserys. So if he had the backing to take the throne back, he would have, and that's why he was over there selling his sister, because he was a legitimate king still.
Right. Yeah.
But he couldn't say, "Hey, I'm still alive."
Right. Yeah.
So if Jon and Dany are both dead, then Gendry would technically be the next in line.
I don't know. That's tough.
Well, not as long as Jon is legitimate.
Yeah, but that's what Joe's saying.
If Jon and Dany are both killed.
Oh, right. No, exactly. Yes. Okay. Then
it would go to Gendry because he is the oldest of Robert's actual children.
I think.
Okay. Now.
Oh yeah, the only one.
Yeah,
actually.
They killed all his bastards except for him.
Yeah.
Now, but since then, Cersei has been named Queen of King's Landing and the Seven Kingdoms, right?
Well, she named herself, yeah, but
she named herself, but she had legitimate rule. She had legitimate rule because people are coming to try to overthrow her, right?
Yeah, I guess. She's in the castle, so they have to.
Okay, so by that rule, doesn't now Tyrion have claim to the throne?
Ooh, that's an interesting point. Yeah, I think Tyrion would probably have a better claim than Renly. Jesus.
Gendry.
God.
Yeah. So that's just the whole,
and thrown in the end.
Yes. I'm hoping that's what's going to end up happening.
So that's my whole. That's like I said. It seems like a good amount of people have claim to the throne, have legitimate claim to the throne,
right? And
there has been no rule set up, or at least explained to me. Maybe I missed it, but who's actually right? Who's actually in line for the throne? Because I have a legitimate claim to the throne and a big enough army, does that mean I just automatically get it?
Yeah, I think you have to take it. I think it's whoever can take it. And honestly, I don't think it matters about legitimate claims anymore. They don't have the Sept of Baelor, which they would normally be anointed by the Seven and everything to be the ruler. And I think it's basically just the strongest survive at this point.
Right. Yeah. So that's my only sort of with what's going on is that there's a decent amount of people that have claim to the throne.
Yeah.
And there's no real rule outlining, like some pencil pusher from Bravos is going to come over. Well, wait a minute, guys. Wait a minute. This is who should be on the throne.
You never know. I mean, the Iron Bank might own it because Cersei's going to die owing them all this money, or spoiler alert, dies owing them all this money for the Golden Company.
Technically, they didn't perform what they were supposed to do, so I think that money can go back.
Well, that's another. Let's put our troops on the outside of the wall and sans elephants.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Well, maybe we should just transition into episode 5 then, since we're going beyond future. You guys ready to do that part?
Yeah, let's do it. Well, so first episode 4, Rhaegal dying. I thought, like I said, I think that was a great move just because it sort of it showed us. I mean, like, I was pissed it happened, but it showed us that they were just, we're just flying high in clear skies, just getting ready for another battle, getting ready for the battle to come, and we're just not really sort of prepared for anything.
Yeah, I had so many problems with the scene. It's so ridiculous. As soon as Missandei and Grey Worm held hands on the boat, I went, oh shit, something's about to go down.
Yeah.
And then the dragons are flying. Yeah, it's such a beautiful like,
yeah.
And how do the boats fire with that accuracy when they've never showed that before, and they're like hidden in a bay? How do they shot around the thing? How does that work? And then Dany dive bombs him in a fit of rage, which makes complete sense because you'd be completely crazy that one of your kids just died. But pinpoint accuracy, 3 in a row, hit Rhaegal, and then he dives into the water. It looked amazing, looked spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, we could have almost used an 80s montage of all these guys training at King's Landing with the big scorpions,
Yeah, for sure. How long did they have to build all these badass scorpions on these ships and sail it all the way to fucking Dragonstone? And how long were they hiding in the bay? And, like, they wouldn't have scouts because their fleet was decimated before. Like, they wouldn't have forward scouts at all that could warn them. Like, there's so many holes in this. And then the accuracy was off the charts, which actually is brought into even more question in the next episode when they can't hit a goddamn giant dragon with 100 boats. But so Dany does the dive bomb maneuver, which you're like, oh shit, no, don't do that, but which makes total sense because she's freaking out.
Yeah,
that's the stupid part. They all shoot and miss her, and then instead of roasting all the boats right there, she just flies off.
Well,
and then, like, get in the skiff, and then the Missandei gets captured, and then all the fleet gets destroyed, and
I think that was Dany's sort of last sort of straw of restraint and reason right there. Of, no, this is stupid. Run, Yeah. So,
how did anybody survive that to get to the beaches either? If you have an attacking force on ocean with they're pirates, they kill everybody. They're not going to let these major characters live to miraculously make it to shore. Were the defenders at the castle? Did Dany leave that place completely empty? Because maybe they would have done something like, so frustrating.
Yeah, and how does Grey Worm get to shore and Missandei get?
Oh yeah, he put her in the skiff, and because she was in a little boat, she gets captured, but he gets thrown overboard or jumps overboard or whatever, and gets to swim to shore. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, that was my little tidbit from episode 4 that I thought. And then aside from all of the plot and scheming that everybody now knows that Jon, his true parentage,
right?
So let's jump into episode 5.
The bells.
For whom the bell tolls.
They tolled for everybody.
Oh yeah.
Shit. This episode. Oh my god.
Yeah. So first off, Lena Headey, Cersei Lannister, very underused in this season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
she gets paid to sit on a balcony.
I was going to say, did you see that?
Yeah.
Props to Lena Headey for getting paid $1 million an episode to drink wine.
Yeah, because all she did this season was bang Euron, and then just look very menacing from very far away.
Yeah, I mean, well, once her father gets killed, she turns into this super sinister, like, evil mastermind, which, okay, that's a weird turn, but cool.
Yeah.
I like the fact that she's the big bad and she's making shit happen. She's blowing up Seps and every enemy she's ever had. Fucking everything. And then she's just this...
Right. Yeah.
Vapid, toothless, like, especially in the episode 5, just standing there with her cup of wine, like...
Well, now, to her defense of character, she always had strong people behind her. You know, she had the Lannister army first and foremost. Then she bought the Golden Company. She always had the mountain no more than, you know, a door away. So I think there was some sort of security blanket for her sinisterism, if that's a word even, for her, you know, for her sort of play. Because now, if remember during the Battle of Blackwater, she was in with all of the females and Sansa, and she was like nervous and drinking wine, you know, and basically, you know, telling Sansa that, oh, we're all gonna die, you know, this isn't gonna end well for us,
right?
You know, and then finally that sort of wash of relief over her when Tywin comes in with the army, and then even during the her walk of shame, you know, regardless of everything that happened during the walk, she walks right into the mountain, and you know, and like has her moment to sort of collect herself. So you know, when she had never real, I mean, she'd never really been in any trouble. Is my point.
Yeah, I mean, the walk of shame is what steeled her to blow up everybody. That was that was what cracked her and turned her into this thing like revenge at all costs person, and she got it, and that was a good jump for the character. And I mean, like you said, she was underused in this season.
Yeah, and so you know, and her killing of Missandei, you know, was basically a bluff. In terms of, well, again, you don't, you know, you, and she said it during the episode, which I thought was a huge misstep. You know, surely we can get a lucky shot in. Yeah. Like, okay, that's the battle plan?
Yeah, for sure.
And shot on a dragon?
I guess we should back up, because that killing Missandei was a huge part of episode 4, and that's another part where it kind of confused me. So, because she's supposed to be this big bad and has all the cards, basically. Dany's army's been decimated. She's got one dragon left. All of the commanders of the army that Cersei's trying to fight are right there. They have scorpions and archers and everything. Kill them.
Yeah.
If that was me, I would kill them right then and there and be done with it. And it's so ridiculously shot. Yeah. I love the fact that she killed Missandei. I mean, I didn't like it, but that was totally in character for Cersei to do that. And I liked that kind of kept in her character. But
no, absolutely.
A shot at Tyrion.
Like, yeah, I thought they were going to shoot Tyrion. Yeah, or at least you know, fuck with him.
Yeah,
a little bit. You know,
right.
Yeah.
And so, but the killing of Missandei only served to inflame Grey Worm.
Yeah, for sure. That was one of the parts of episode 5 that I actually liked, was Grey Worm going off on people. We got to see.
Yeah, because Missandei hasn't done anything for 2 seasons.
Yeah, no, she was a figurehead more than anything.
Yeah,
right. And so, but I mean, that's all I'm saying is that in terms of character deaths, it only served to inflame Grey Worm and
Dany. Yeah, who's her best friend.
That's true. Yeah.
Been with her through everything, basically.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things I'm like, when people are up in arms about Dany going Mad Queen, it's like, you know, yes, it's a very, very sharp turn, but it's been coming. And just the fact that, like, one of the only people that's been able to keep Dany in line is Jorah, and he's gone. And then you he's gone. Then you take another one of her children.
Jon Snow doesn't dick her down.
Well, right? No, that
And her best friend, and now the throne's in question. You know, all of that would be enough to make her, you know, give in to her knee-jerk impulses that.
And her Dong of the North doesn't want to have anything to do with her.
But all of the people that have talked her off the cliff before are now gone or are out of favor.
Yeah, and it makes sense that she feels abandoned and all that. I don't have any love over here.
Well,
but you don't.
Because like her first reaction to any problem has been to light it on fire or smash it with a hammer, you know?
Well, yeah.
And Jorah's always the one that's like, wait, don't burn.
I think let's back up though. We're getting ahead of ourselves because she goes Mad Queen kind of mid-end of the episode. But so I just rewatched it again today, and I know there's been some memes circling around. So the very beginning, it opens on Varys writing a note, probably for a raven, talking about, you know, Aegon Targaryen is alive. He's been hidden by Eddard Stark. And then one of his little birds comes in, and he basically says, "Any luck?" And the little bird goes, "No, she hasn't eaten anything." And Varys goes, "Oh, we'll try again tomorrow," which means he's trying to poison Dany.
Yeah.
Which I didn't catch it until it was on the internet, and then I watched it again today, and it totally makes sense. He's trying to poison her.
That's not how I read that at all. Because
the greater the risk, the greater the reward.
Oh man,
that's what he says at the end of that. You know, it's pretty good when you watch it again.
Because I think there's the next scene where I think it's Tyrion that also mentions like she hasn't left the room, she hasn't eaten anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just assumed they were concerned about her because she was not eating because she's depressed.
I thought that too. That was what I thought too, and they would never let that happen. And then I saw the thing online and then watched it again and listened to really closely to the dialogue.
Yeah, it
was pretty cool.
I'll try again tomorrow.
Yeah, it was nuts. I think they're watching me. Like, well, they're soldiers. That's their job, kind of thing. Yeah, it's really. Well, I have it upstairs. We'll watch it again completely.
Okay.
So then it's what Jon Snow shows up, right? And it's him and Varys meets him on the beach, and they're talking about the army. You know, the army should be outside King's Landing, kind of thing. And then Varys goes off on, you know, he knows that, exactly. Yeah. You're the best option, kind of thing.
Jon's la 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 la. I don't want it.
Yeah, I don't. I don't want it. You know, she's my queen, kind of thing, and blows him off. And then you've got the scene with Tyrion throwing him under the bus, basically, right?
Yeah, because I think he tries to convince Tyrion, and Tyrion kind of does the same thing of like, you know, no, she's my queen.
That was the episode before. That was in 4, where he's talking about you have to choose somebody eventually and back them, and you know, kind of back your horse, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And even then, Varys is like, even if there's somebody better for the realm or whatever. Mm-hmm. That was the other part of 4 that I really liked, was that back and forth between them, because it kind of showed where Varys actually has a cause beyond just sowing discord and
well, and that's one of the, like, Varys was one of the characters where he was played true through the whole thing.
That's
you know, he was always for the realm, no matter what. You know, it doesn't matter who. Whatever's best for the realm. Yeah,
and side note, the guy apparently had a giant frock of black hair at the beginning of the episode, and then it all went white towards the end. But we'd never know that because he was shaved bald the whole time. Oh, so he's got this crazy cool head of hair, but the interview is all white.
Wow.
He was talking about that on one of his interviews. So then you've got Tyrion going in to talk to Dany. You know, somebody's betrayed you, and she immediately says, Jon Snow. And he's like, no, Varys. And she's like, and he knows because you told him, because someone told you, because Jon told somebody and I told him not to, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's just all hollow-eyed and gaunt and just seething with rage. But
hair's a mess.
She's a hot mess. And I forget what happens right after that, but basically they go to lock up Varys, right? He's taken all.
That's the point where Varys is taken out.
Yeah, he burns the note and takes all his rings off and puts them in a cup.
Yeah.
And they march him down to the beach. I like the visual of of her condemning him to die, and then the dragon coming out.
Yeah, the Drogon coming right over. I thought that was fantastic.
That was dope. I was so the dragon kind of hesitated before it burned him, and I was like, ooh, is there something that, is Varys Targaryen, secret Targaryen? Like, that'd be cool as hell. But no, he just, there was no screaming or anything, too. He just silently,
like a champ.
silently burned. Only men with balls scream, apparently. And then what happens after that? I forget. I just watched it. I should have written down the beats. Is that when we go to King's Landing then?
I think that's.
No.
No. That's when she says that they intercepted Jaime.
Yes, and.
Oh, that was before they kill Varys. So that's at the end of the "somebody's betrayed you" scene. Tyrion's walking out, and she says, "We captured Jaime." Coming back into King's Landing, and then they have that back and forth, and then they kill Varys. And there's a scene there that I didn't notice before. Right after Dany sentences him to die, there's a shot of Jon Snow. Or is it right after she says Dracarys? She says Dracarys super casually. Like, I continue to die. Dracarys. And Jon Snow looks at her and he's like, oh, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And so then it cuts to it's Dany with Missandei's slave collar in her quarters. And she gives it to Grey Worm, and Grey Worm basically throws it on the fire. And then Jon Snow comes up. And Dany actually calls Grey Worm by his full name, like his real name. It's in the subtitles in Valerian.
Oh, shit.
I don't have it written down. It's Dorgo Mrohorgo or something like that.
I wondered about that.
So they were talking about that online too. And then she basically says, it's okay, let me talk to Jon Snow. And then they have the back and forth, you will always be my queen. And she's like, ooh, is that all I'm going to be to you, big boy? And like gets up in his face and tries to kiss him. And he doesn't reciprocate. And this is after she does the whole, like, I don't have any love here and nobody loves me like I love you. And then she tries to kiss him and he basically shuts her down and he goes, let it be fear then, kind of thing. And
dun, dun, dun.
You know, well, and I don't mind that because they haven't really, I mean, aside from her telling him not to talk about it,
right,
and him assuring her that he doesn't want the throne, right, they haven't really discussed this. Maybe they have, and we just didn't see it because, I mean, that probably wouldn't make great television. To be honest.
So, yeah, you're my aunt.
It's a fight where it's like, we need to talk.
But you know what? I mean, it could be served by Jon telling somebody else, saying, "Hey, I know Targaryens used to inbreed and whatnot, but that's just not who I am."
Right.
You know,
his best put your aunt test.
Maybe he could have had a heart-to-heart with Ghost on this.
Oh my god! Yeah, I'm sure.
Right?
His dogs aren't known for incest at all.
Yeah. But I mean,
right.
if he needs to talk to somebody without people knowing what's going on, like I said, he could have had a heart-to-heart with Ghost for real.
That would be hilarious. What should I do, boy? Should I fuck my aunt?
Right. Yeah. And so
like Lassie.
Yeah. Well, it's not. Yeah. Well, incest is not out of the realm of possibility for Targaryens. It's it's weird for the honorable Starks.
Yeah, for sure, and that makes sense, and I understand that, and that's why he doesn't do it. But Jesus Christ, in retrospect, man, take
one for the team, please.
For the good of the general population.
Jump on the grenade.
It's not like she's an ugly aunt either. I mean, come on, just do it. You didn't know she was your aunt until like 2 seconds ago.
And you're already screwed her, so
at least once.
The deed is done.
At least
yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, you can't unscrew a light bulb.
That's hilarious.
But one thing I just remembered, I thought there was, I think it was the preview before the episode actually came out. There was that shot of Dany in the window where her hair's down and it looks all a mess. And I read like a theory that the Dothraki never cut their braids except for when they're defeated.
Right.
And it was like, oh, is she gonna take her braids out because Missandei got killed? And she wasn't.
That'd be cool if that was a thing.
I was like, oh, that I mean, just
totally
a small
cool.
little, little thing
None.
that
Yeah.
would have been cool.
Yeah, there's a lot that would have been cool, like starting with full episodes for the last couple seasons, or full episode counts.
Well, okay, and I was going to bring this up before because I just heard this today. Is that initially HBO pitched the executive producers on 2 more seasons?
Oh yeah, they wanted as much as they can. They're printing money with this show.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course they
Yeah,
want-
and they said no. We're gonna wrap it up in 6.
Yeah, they want to move on to other things.
Right. Star Wars.
Right, which I'm really worried about. We can talk about that after the fact. But yeah, so now I'm trying to remember where it goes from there. I think it might go to the Red Keep at that point.
Yeah, I think it. No, it starts with. Yeah. It's
Euron. Isn't it Euron on the deck of his ship kind of thing?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Don't they come up with the Bell plan before all this?
Oh, right. Yeah. So the Bell plan, and then it shows scenes of Arya and the Hound going to King's Landing, and then also Jaime with his hand going into King's Landing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Bell plan happens, and Tyrion tells Jon that's on the hill where the Unsullied and everybody are ready. And then there's a shot of, then I think then it's Euron on the boat, on his boats with his flotilla.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
The sun. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, and then Drogon is leveled up, apparently, since the last combat. And everybody else has been nerfed because not many of them shoot, and the ones that do can't hit shit, and just proceeds to decimate the entire fleet.
Did they fire off any of the scorpions that were on the wall of King's Landing?
Not while he was shooting guys out there.
No, they did. I think they did do that because I was wondering about the reload time on them.
They did after she destroyed all the boats and was starting to come for the castle. She was low, and they moved the angle down and shot a volley, and then had to reload, and that's when she came up and ripped.
Yeah.
Which I was talking with Chris Koppel, and he brought up a good point about let's put all the scorpions right in a perfect line, so the dragon all just has to shoot fire down this straight shot and burn all.
They're on the wall.
Well, right, they're on the wall. But to Joe's point, you should be able to stagger some, change elevation so they can cover each other. That was one of the things that kind of bummed me out later in the episode. So I'll wait till we get. I'll wait till we get there. So, Drogon destroys all the boats. Comes for Euron. Euron jumps off into the water. We'll come back to him in a minute. Does the whole swoop up. Starts roasts all the scorpions on the tower there, and then just proceeds. We get a shot of the Golden Company.
Hello, goodbye to the Golden Company.
There is a meme. It is the best. I think I shared it with you guys. The best meme ever. It's basically a closed
the Cheeto in front of the.
Yeah.
And this is the Golden Company protecting King's Landing. And I lost my shit at work when I saw that. I was dying. And I showed it to my buddy, one of my project managers, and he started laughing his ass off. It was the best. Oh,
yeah, like the greatest army in Westeros is like a quarter of her Unsullied after they've been decimated.
Dude, it was the best. At least this episode gave us some amazing memes.
Right.
Thankfully, otherwise I'd probably be crying.
Yeah.
But, so then you get the shot of the Golden Company and the commander, who looks great with his giant pauldrons and everything, and big shoulder pads. And they're all wearing khakis. Hey, Jake from State Farm, what are you wearing? I want to see that meme. That'd be great.
Well, I think if they had, a handful of elephants scattered through, they'd be more impressive.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it makes sense why they didn't want to spend the money on the elephants now, though, because there's a rumbling, and they're like, oh, what's going on? And the gate bursts from the backside and basically takes half of them out. Yeah. That was rough. I mean, normally you wouldn't have your troops on the outside of a fortification in the first place, but, they just did that.
It's the Golden Company.
Well, yeah, they just did that in the Long Night battle.
Well, yeah, and they're sellswords too. So, like I said, you don't mind if they live or die at that point. You've already paid for them. It's
still stupid to have a wall and put your guys in front of the wall.
Yeah, but hey, if you can protect You protect the keep at all costs, right? What? No, I'm serious. If the bad guys don't, it's the whole Trojan horse thing. Keep them out.
Well, that's not what a Trojan horse is, but okay.
But no, like I said, you keep them out of your city. That's the whole point.
I know. I'm giving you a hard time because it's fun.
Yeah.
Cool. We need to play strategy games against each other. I think I'm gonna do pretty well.
Oh no, yeah, dude. No, I'm terrible.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah. What happens after that? Then she goes to roast all the scorpions on the walls, right? Because there's tons, and none of them can turn and fire.
Right. Yeah. And this is where sort of the massive the beginning of the destruction starts, to where and then the army advances,
right?
And then you get the standoff between the Unsullied, the North, and the Lannister army.
Yeah, I wanted Michael Jackson's "Bad" to start playing, like, or was it "Beat It"? Where it's "Beat It," where they hold hands, knives, and dance fighting. Like, oh god.
Yeah, the Lannisters throw down their swords.
Yeah,
the bells
screaming on the wall,
and this is where the bell starts to ring, and then this is where I'm going to, in unpopular opinion, defend Dany.
Oh, good God. This is where the show hits a new low.
Again, all of her people that have talked her off are gone, right? And of course, nobody's in her ear telling her not to do this, not to do it. But she has spent the better part of her life wanting to get the Red Keep, right? Wanting to sit on the Iron Throne. And she is finally there. And there's going to be, like, you see it in her face where, like, you're close. You're finally this close and you're winning, right? The last thing she wants at this point is political outmaneuvering or, having to worry about
feeding people.
Feeding people, but no, yeah, feeding people, taking prisoners in the army, all that crap. Like, at that point, I'm here. I'm just gonna burn the fucker to the ground.
I'm not fire and blood.
I'm not saying I support this behavior. I'm saying I understand why she did it.
No, I don't know, man. I'm gonna let Joe go first.
No, I'm leaning with Andy on this one. I get it, but my happy medium would have been if she would have left, like, the housing development of King's Landing be, and just go burn the fuck out of the
Keep.
yeah,
exactly.
Burn the fuck out of the Red Keep. Go for that.
Yeah.
Then it's, you've gotten Cersei, you're good, right. And all of your people that you're going to want to rule are still alive.
Yeah, all the people you wanted to free from the wheel. So that's the thing that really bothers me about this, is that the entire setup for Dany's character, she's always cared about the weak and the downtrodden and the people that are victims of the wheel and the hierarchy and that kind of thing. She has always raised them up. People have revolted. The people she's burned and killed have been like slavers and people that have crucified children and all of these just horrific individuals, always sparing. She does everything she can to make sure that the regular people are okay, to the point where her forces were decimated back at Marine because of the assassinations, and she wouldn't go to the streets to randomly root people out because she didn't want to kill people that weren't, actually the bad guys. And then then they spend no time at all, really, on this kind of slow burn that should have happened on her descent into madness. Now, if this had been a separate season and they had actually taken the time of her descent into madness, then it makes sense to me. And
I disagree with you there.
It didn't. She's not going to snap and then roast hundreds of thousands, or you're supposed to be 1 million people inside those walls. She's not going to roast thousands and thousands and thousands of innocent people just because. And that's
her reception in the North didn't go like she thought it would. She thought she was going to show up with dragons and everyone would bend the knee and say, our queen is here. Our queen is here. She's come to save us. Right? That didn't happen, obviously. It's more, why are you here? and John had to say, we need her. We need her to do this. We absolutely need her to win this battle. And even afterwards, hey, Jon Snow this, Jon Snow that. Nobody really got on Team Daenerys in the North. So she's feeling more isolated than ever. Last thing she wants to do is have a similar reception after she gets the Iron Throne.
So she changes her complete character makeup to burn innocent children and people alive?
I'm not saying it's a quick turn. I'm just saying there's nobody to tell her, hey, they will love you, right? John tried to say it, but then he didn't love her.
Yeah, and also, I mean, also too, she's probably noticed King's Landing is one town. Westeros is a big place. So she's probably just like, fuck it. I'm burning this place to the ground. There's plenty of other people that,
You can't come back from something like that. She becomes everything she despises in that moment. Everything now trying to save people from the entire series, she becomes that in that moment when she kills all those people.
Now, didn't a Targaryen build the Red Keep?
Yes. So, like Joe said, it would have made way more sense for her just to beeline to the Red Keep, burn that to slag, and then you're good. There's no reason to take it out on all these innocent people.
Let me ask you this, because I think they set this up, but they thought an afterthought. But didn't at some point you think that Drogon was going to burn the tower that Cersei was in?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. That's the Red Keep. Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. But like the actual, I thought they were setting up this shot of where you would see Drogon coming at Cersei.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought was going to happen. When Drogon jumped off the walls right before Dany went fucking mental and people. Yeah, that's what I thought she was going. I thought that was the beeline for the Red Keep, and they were
right.
She killed those poor people.
Yeah. And then at this point, Grey Worm, as soon as Dany loses it, Grey Worm's like, all right, I'm gonna get my comeuppance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Grey Worm made sense. The entire North going apeshit did not make sense at all.
I was just gonna bring it up, like once the bells rang and it was surrender time, I was shocked to see the Northmen still fighting. I figured John would tell them to lay down their swords and nope, we're done.
Well, he tried to, too. Yeah. They just went past him, and then one guy tried to rape some lady.
Yeah, I was like, this is no...
fuck, dude? You obviously don't have a woman in your writing room to throw that one in there, especially, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that was weird. So, again, just to kind of reiterate, every department knocked it out of the park in this episode, with the exception of writing, in my opinion. The props were amazing. The set was amazing.
The cinematography
was nuts. I watched the inside, not the after show, which is 10 minutes long, but the inside one that's like 30 or 40 minutes long that comes out. Or came out today, where they're talking about how they had the most people on fire in a show ever again, like they got a record, and they did it twice. And just watching them do it, holy shit! And they built the gate that they blew up with the fire, right where the Golden Company was.
Yeah,
they basically had the idea of building everything in the destroyed format and then kind of filling in the little pieces to make it look whole, because then they could just destroy it and it would look perfect in that moment. They have all these gas lines rigged through everything, and it was nuts. So and the scope of it was just absolutely incredible. They built 17 streets on this empty lot and completely built everything. That stuff they blow up, they built that practically and blew it up practically, basically. And then it had the dragon in the background, obviously.
Right. Yeah. No. I watched that too, and it really was incredible. Just the level of detail and accuracy that sort of went into the destruction of King's Landing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant.
So at this point, you're on power swims to shore.
And just happens to show up when Jamie figures out how to get into the area that they was told. They just happen to be there at the same time.
Yeah, and let me say that I never thought that these two, I understand why they pitted these two together at this point, but I never expected it. I don't think I needed it.
No, it was ridiculous fan service that shouldn't have been on.
I mean, it was kind of, for me, it was funny because it was a kind of throwaway ending to a throwaway character.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because Euron could have been so cool. I mean, in the books, he's a vicious badass.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
And just that the line at the end that's so the show you're on of like, well, I killed Jaime fucking Lannister.
It's almost a Deadpool moment. Like, he's not looking at the camera, but you think he is because of the blood in his face. Yeah. It looks like he's breaking the fourth wall almost. Like, I killed Jaime fucking Lannister. Like, Jesus Christ. And what a stupid fight, too. Like, do you want to kill the guy or not? Because you stabbed him, poke you in the kidney, and then I'll let you crawl to your sword, and then poke you in the other kidney instead of like spine, slice his throat, stab him in the head, hamstring the guy. I don't pick a fucking artery, like, and then one more king for you to kill, Kingslayer. Like, oh god, it's so bad. And then Jaime can survive long enough with those battle wounds to go up through the catacombs into and find. Boo.
Yeah, Jaime should have bled out on the stairs.
Yeah,
you're right.
There was a really good moment. So I'm kind of conflicted on the Hound Arya moment. So they're basically in the map room, the open map to the sky kind of thing, and the Hound's getting ready to go. The castle's crumbling at this point. The dragons attacking the castle, tearing off towers and fire and all that shit. So everything's shaking and rocks are falling everywhere. And there's this moment between Arya and the Hound where he basically tells her, that revenge always ends in death kind of thing. Don't be like me.
Yeah, just go home.
Just go. Yeah. And I thought, so it was a cool moment between those characters, but if Arya had gone this far being like, this is my list, I'm killing everybody, and is this ice cold killer for so long, I don't think she just gives up in that moment.
You're literally on the 1 yard line.
Right, exactly. And if she had hung around that room, she could have killed Cersei for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, and part of me thought that at some point later in the episode, when Cersei was alone with Jaime,
they were going to cross.
We were just going to get a quick little Arya. Oh, take it.
That would have been a cool moment. I mean, I think giving Arya. Well, we'll go into theories here in a minute, but giving Arya the Night King was a big step, and I love that they did do that because she was a great character.
Yeah.
She deserved the win. I wasn't a huge fan of the way it went down, but I love the maneuver that she used on Brienne in the episodes earlier, and the switching of the hands with the dagger and everything. And giving her the kill was huge, and I love that. But this is another example of a bunch of missed options and not very good writing about how Jaime and Cersei bite it after the fact. No, we're skipping ahead because the Clegane Bowl is before that.
Which I thought Clegane Bowl was awesome.
Yeah, mostly was pretty cool. I mean, I love the way Qyburn went out.
Oh god, that was
that was amazing.
Was amazing. So Cersei finally agrees to leave the tower because of Qyburn's like, they've breached everything, let's go. She's got her Queensguard. They're walking down the stairs. The tower falls apart around them. Half her Queensguard is dead. So then it's just the Mountain, Qyburn, her, and then it's some Queensguard behind him. And then the Hound rounds the steps at the bottom. And oh shit, it's on. And this is one bit of fan service that I'm so glad they put in. Yeah. Because people have been hounding. I didn't even mean to do that. People have been hounding the writers about this for a long time. And Clegane Bowl was on.
Yes.
Oh, so happy. Joe, thoughts?
I love it just and in that moment where like both of them, it's like everything just goes away. Like Cersei's trying to get the Mountain, like, you will guard me, Stan. You don't need. And he's just like, nope.
He turns and looks at her and his like blood red eyes, like,
bitch, no.
If he could have said, really? Right, exactly.
Qyburn gets thrown like a sack of potatoes.
Oh, I love that. So Qyburn deserved to die, and that was great. And the Mountain actually smashed heads against the wall before with the kids in the beginning.
Yeah.
We didn't see it, but I love the way that he killed him. That was, dude, obey your queen. Crunch, throw, head falls off. Like, oh god, it was so bad.
Oh man,
that was.
I'm not quite sure how I feel about the Darth Vader Mountain.
For
face.
Sure, dude. It was
like
totally
I just
Anakin Skywalker.
He takes the helmet off, and I'm like, really?
Yeah. If he was super pale, it would have been kind of pretty close to Ringer.
I mean, I get the fact that he's been, leached and chemicaled and Qyburned out, but
he seemed more menacing under the helmet than he did with his armor off. That's for sure. I mean, obviously he's a massive dude, but and I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but Qyburn's death was the most satisfying of the episode.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's saying something because it was very quick.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's just he's so weaselly and gross and just.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've been wanting to smash his head against a wall since he first showed up.
Yeah, well, like in episode 4 when Tyrion's talking to him out on the field, it's like, children will be burned alive. And then there was something about the screaming of burning children, and Qyburn's like, yes, it's most unpleasant.
Right.
I kind of wanted him to die in a more vicious way, but it was pretty vicious, and it worked out. The battle between the two of them, I think, was pretty well choreographed. There was, I think, maybe one too many shots of showing how hard the mountain swings and how vicious he is against rock formations. Like, there's a bunch of exploding rocks.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the fight, Andy?
I liked it. I thought it was good. Again, for those two facing off, I honestly loved the fact that they did it in the sort of disintegrating castle and on the staircase and everything. I thought that was very cool. Then at one point you see the dragonfly in the background, like shit's, still going down, but no, these two guys are locked in. So yeah, I liked it. Again, I just wish there was, it just seems like you're stacking a lot in this episode.
Yeah.
And just trying to get out, like I said, they could have had this, in another episode where it was just, it happened here, it happened now during the siege of King's Landing, but it seemed rushed in this to sort of get it in and keep it relevant in the massive battle that was going on.
Yeah.
For me to be truly sort of satisfied.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah.
The fight, I think, between the two of them was pretty well done.
Oh, absolutely.
Fucking die! And then he went for his eyes. I was like, oh my god!
Don't open it.
No jelly. No squeezing jelly.
Well, I think too, I think they did a good job of making it believable, as in the Hound didn't come and kick his ass.
Oh no, the Hound got his ass.
The Hound got his ass handed to him because the Mountain would win.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially the Undead Mountain or whatever the hell it is.
And so I really liked the believability of it, and then the end when the Hound just was like, fuck it, and just took him off the side of the.
Yeah, I didn't really like that, but I think in retrospect, I mean, I'm glad that they did a good job with the battle, and Clegane Bolt was pretty good. The whole pushing him through the wall and dying in fire was poetic, I guess, to a certain extent.
Right.
But,
yeah, because that's how their sour relationship started.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess it makes more sense because the Hound has mortal wounds and that kind of thing at that point. So he's just
there's no way that he's gonna.
There's no way I'm gonna stop this guy unless I do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll allow it.
But and then after it's just there was so much the Cersei Jaime bit just felt like it was like, well, we're out of time. Let's just
wrap it up, boss.
Wrap it up. We'll just have the ceiling fall on them.
Oh, what
we got to move on.
Two of the best characters in this series we've spent 7 years with, and they're just gonna bury him in the rubble. I mean, come on.
Now,
on one hand, it's kind
don't
of
you dare defend this, Andy.
It's a little poetic because they did go out just in a
together. And,
no, not like that, but in a very unremarkable way.
Well, yeah, I mean, they fucked in a tower. They got buried by a tower. Oh, it's circle of life.
Yeah, but at the same time, it did feel kind of rushed and kind of just like, okay, whatever.
Cersei deserved the most gruesome, brutal death in the series, in my opinion. And that was just so like a young lover. I'm so unsatisfied. And then Jaime.
Yeah. So ultimately, I would have loved to have seen Cersei William Wallace in front of everybody, right?
Yeah. We thought that Jaime was going to kill her. Everybody
or
thought.
Arya.
Yeah. Well, I thought that Jaime was going to have to kill her. Like she was going to go so far off her fucking rocker that Jaime actually in his character arc. his heart grew 3 sizes. He fucked Brienne, and she had that good stuff, and he turned into a good guy. No, it's just something to the point where if they had drawn this out even farther, where there's a moment that nobody can get close to Cersei except for Jaime, and when she puts the hit out on her or him and Tyrion, that part kind of completely dissolved that for me. And then what I hoped for is that there was going to be an instance where she's going apeshit. She's starting to kill people behind the walls of King's Landing to try and goad Dany into attacking. She's got all these human shields. She's doing something that's so horrific that Jaime, remembers that he's a knight and whatever. And like the only person that can stop this bitch is me. Because they got all these scorpions. There's no way this dragon's going to get past 100 scorpions with lions on the front of them. Like they had time to embellish the scorpions. That was hilarious.
Oh, of course they did.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
And so what I was hoping for is that Jaime there would be a long kind of game, at least an episode where he has to ingratiate himself with her again. He puts on her Queen's Guard gear or whatever, and then there's a moment where he's just fucking sword through the back kind of thing.
Yeah, where he Ares her.
Exactly, and that comes full circle with the Kingslayer becoming the Queenslayer and his redemption arc and a satisfying death.
Either that,
and then he dies by the mountain.
Either that, or there's the prophecy with Arya of brown eyes, blue eyes, green eyes.
Right.
So of course everybody thought Cersei was the green eyes. Right. So there was the theory going around that she would wear Jaime's face.
Yeah.
And kill Cersei that way.
That plays into my theory for the future.
Oh yeah, me too. I think we have the same theory.
I think we might. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So now I hate how they died. Okay.
Thank you.
It's completely unsatisfying. There's no body. No body will ever be found. Nobody knows if she got out, or nobody knows if she's dead.
Well,
she's probably dead, but like I said, you can't tell with any certainty.
Oh my God, if they bring her back in the next episode.
No.
I'll shit myself.
All I'm saying is that no one from the side that we've been following
knows that happened. Yeah.
That's my point.
She's just going to disappear. And
so there's no, they have been against Cersei all this time. Cersei's on Arya's list. Nobody gets her, right? Technically, Dany, if you want to get technical, let me just,
via the Red Keep.
Let me just say that I did like the fact that this is now the first time that Cersei has been, quote unquote, alone, right, with someone that she can be vulnerable with, right, and come and say, all right, I just want to live. I just want to
not like this. The Matrix moment. Not like this.
Yeah, and so that was one part that I liked, was that now she's not being the stern sort of stone-faced badass that she has been through the last two. It's just like finally she's with somebody that she can be vulnerable and scared with and say, no, I want to get out of here. I want to live.
Yeah, be human with.
She wants her child to live. I agree. Mm-hmm. That brief moment in time was good.
Yeah.
Right. And again, but it's so short, and there isn't a whole lot of lead up to realize that that's where you are at that point. So that's why it seems so weird and out of character for her, is just because we haven't seen her alone in several seasons, and that was where I think that took everybody off,
Sure. Yeah, there's a part we haven't really talked about yet, because interspersed between all of these scenes is Arya getting the shit kicked out of her as she's trying to make her way through the town, and everything's blowing up left and right. She's died 7 times, but apparently she has an evasion D&D skill that allows her to take no damage from area of effect spells and explosions, because holy shit.
So, I mean, can we just talk about her very last scene? I think it was the very last scene of the episode, too.
Oh, the death on a pale horse scene?
Yeah.
Right. So nobody's alive around her, right? And then Miracle shows up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And so is she dead?
Is she what?
Oh, is she dead?
Is she dead? Is she rides the horse?
Is it you know, yeah, is it some Bravosi tradition that you get, you know, the faceless men get a white horse right off into the sunset?
You know what? That would be better than anything they wrote for the episode, so I doubt it.
But, yeah, well, so they showed her in the preview for next week.
Yeah.
But like I would, but if you look around, everybody around her is crispy.
Well, yeah. The kid had a figurine of Wondrous Power, the little horse in her hand. She summoned the horse to bring.
But like, and
and called her an Uber.
There you go. Nice.
No, so I turned to Jamie at that point. I'm like, okay, Ari's dead. That's it.
Yeah, I don't think so. But that's that's a great segue.
That would have been a great little twist.
That would have been a good one. It might still, and maybe, you know what? There's nowhere to go but up, in my opinion, from this episode. There's a bunch of great moments, but there's so many lows and unsatisfying deaths and terrible things that.
Yeah.
Don't jinx it, Nate.
This is the worst of the season and probably the series, in my opinion.
So,
killed me.
What happens next week?
What happens next week? You're breaking up a little bit.
Oh yeah, what happens next week?
I'm not sure what happens next week, but I have a theory. Can I float it?
Give us your theory.
Okay. So Arya, so I'm not sure where this happens. Maybe it's Dragonstone, maybe it's Winterfell, maybe it's wherever the staging area is. Arya kills Grey Worm, takes his face, and kills Dany. And this can happen either before or after Dany executes Jon for treason using the dragon. That's my theory about what's going to happen.
Okay.
But I would love I'm going to kill Grey Worm, take his face, and then kill Dany with Grey Worm's face on. I think that'd be fucking amazing.
That would be good.
I hope there's some kind of face stealing for Arya, because that was such an epic scene when she killed Walder Frey. I really want another faceless man death.
She needs another face to her collection.
How do the people in the North factor into next week's episode?
Sadly, I don't think they do, to be honest.
It's going to be another time travel, or maybe there's a time jump involved.
There could be a time jump, but
I don't know.
I'm guessing real hard that we get a time jump.
Yeah.
That we get maybe a year in, you know? And people are sort of in place where they're going to end up.
Well, what happens? King's Landing is gone. Like, that's all burned to shit. Nobody's gonna. Is there an Iron Throne still? Is it buried? I mean, they show her like at the steps, I think, right, of what's left of the Red Keep.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
With everybody arrayed in front of her.
So if you guys remember, and I think you've seen all the stuff on this, is that you remember Bran had the vision of the throne room covered in snow.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but now clearly it's ash. Right.
Yeah, she had the vision at the House of the Undying too. That was the same.
That's right. Yeah.
Ashy throne room.
Right. Yeah.
So there's no time jump then, because if it's ash, it's got to be happening.
Right. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Interesting.
Does Dany make it out of episode 6 alive?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I mean, I think they've set it up. They spent so much time on Arya and her struggles to get out alive, and her trying to save these people and the dragon fire, and she's going to be completely gunning for Dany. Her list means nothing. She doesn't care about anybody else on the list, obviously, because she gave up on Cersei. But so now she only has one name on her list, and it's Dany.
Yeah.
And
right.
That's to me, that's the only way that this can end in a reasonable note, is they made her this super villain, the biggest mass murderer in the history of Westeros. So she's got to die. I don't know how it happens.
Yeah. Is there any happy ending to this?
No. It's Game of Thrones. I wouldn't expect a happy ending.
Okay.
But I would expect a well-written ending, considering.
Let me. Is there a satisfying ending to this?
Yeah, I don't know now after all these.
Well, for me,
spent characters.
I want I mean, Danny, I think, is just going to have to die, unfortunately. I don't want Jon to die. I really would like him to go retire in the north.
In the north.
In
the far north.
Well, any north.
I want him back with the wildlings.
Yeah, I'd prefer him back with the wildlings, but if he's going to go be Lord of Winterfell.
Oh, in Ghost, there could be a scene where they're up in the snow and they're running towards each other.
Oh, and Ghost jumps into his arms
and
then bites him because he's a dick.
Yes, exactly right. You couldn't even scratch my one ear.
One ear, come on. Would it?
Lord Snow.
Head rubbies, just a little head rubbing. Come on.
God damn it.
And I'm guessing just Tyrion on the throne.
Yeah. I think that Tyrion ends up on the throne.
Me too. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I like the idea of a council. That's been floated a lot online, like where they actually do break the wheel, and now it's like a council of people that make decisions as opposed to a monarchy. But
part of me,
so it becomes. So it becomes Star Wars now, where the regional governors have.
Sure.
and Danny is emperor.
Right.
Oh God.
Unlimited power.
So, like a small part of me and I know it won't happen, but it was just like Sansa, put her on the throne. She's the smartest damn one.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But which, if they do the council, that would actually make sense if you pull people from each region.
Yeah, Queen of the North.
So,
yeah.
Sansa, and then
somebody from Dorne.
Somebody from Highgarden.
Sam from Tully's.
Yep. Sam better just be Grand Maester at this point.
Yeah.
Right. What about you, Andy? What do you think's going to happen?
Well, yeah, I think Danny dies for sure. I mean, I almost sort of want a sort of purple wedding posture where Sansa poisons Danny.
Woo.
Yeah, so that's that's the weird sort of ending to the weird sort of time jump that I want, where we'll see a brief destruction of King's Landing, we'll see the Ashy Throne Room, and then we'll get 1 year later at the wedding of Queen Daenerys to somebody, maybe. Maybe.
No way. How does Jon Snow reconcile this whole situation with Dany? Like,
he just goes back to the north, says, "Fuck it, I'm done with you people."
Right?
He goes full on Dexter.
I don't understand the reference.
Oh, out. Did you ever watch Dexter?
Nope.
Oh, then never mind. You wouldn't get it.
That's why I said it.
So anyway, no. Dexter. Anyway, he fakes his own death and ends up living out in a lumberjack in Oregon somewhere.
Oh, spoiler alert! Uh-oh, my battery's running low.
Okay.
But Jon he never wanted anything to do with the South and the politics of everything at all. So I just go back up to the north where you belong and live out your days, either at Winterfell or beyond the Wall. Go reunite with Ghost and Tormund and have a bunch of fun.
Right. Yeah. Rebuild the wall.
Like, you never wanted any of this to begin with. You kind of got suckered into it.
Right.
Yeah. Take your life and go run and get away.
Right. Yeah.
Please don't make all the women folk die so Jon can be like, "Oh, I guess I gotta sit on the throne. I never wanted it, though. I never wanted it." That's gonna piss me off big time.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah. One of my big when I think it was after I can't remember where it was in the series, but I was like, okay, if this ends up with Cersei and Daenerys killing each other so that Jon can just waltz up to the throne.
Perfect.
That's going to be, no, that's terrible because it perpetrates the women can't rule thing, and that's drives me nuts.
Well, they've already gone down the bitches be cray avenue.
Yeah, which I'm kind of bummed about and a little irritated, but
well, except for Sansa a little fingering everything.
Did you just say fingering? What?
Littlefinger.
Yeah, little fingering everything.
I miss him.
She's planted the seeds of Jon's lineage, right, in Daenerys's High Council.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. No, she's actually done they did her pretty well.
Right, yeah. So, like I said, well, I haven't said this yet. I said it in my brain. I haven't said it to you guys yet.
Whoa.
Sorry. But Sansa ends up, because they have to be part of the finale. I don't think their story is over. The North story is over yet.
Yeah.
I'm pissed Lyanna Mormont isn't the Queen of the North. But I think Sansa ends up ruling some, if not all. Although she doesn't have a claim to the throne.
Well, she's royal. Queen of the North. She's Queen of the North, basically, for all.
Lady of Winterfell, yeah, but...
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah. I mean, I hope Dany dies. I think everybody hopes Dany dies at this point. You know what I feel bad for? All the people that named their daughter Khaleesi.
Right, yeah.
And all the people I tagged in the Mother's Day post, like, to all the Khaleesi's out there, only you could raise us Drogons. And now I'm like, oh, God, you guys are going to murder children. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. No, my friend Steve tweeted out, I bet all the kids in kindergarten that name their kids Khaleesi feel really stupid right now.
Seriously.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Khaleesi's be an Arya.
Be a Sansa. Stay the fuck out of it.
Yeah,
right. Exactly. Yeah. They
love the memes where it's like, meanwhile, Sansa's just up in Winterfell with a glass of wine,
drinking her mead, hanging out.
Yeah.
Ooh, I heard that there's a theory that so Bran's heart is broken and Sansa's up there by herself, and they're going to get together and rule the North. You never know.
Well, and I was telling you guys earlier, so there was that the tweet about Yara being the sensible lesbian.
Yep.
And I'm like, dude, Sansa needs to get on the sensible lesbian train.
Yeah.
Well, think about it. She never had any luck with guys.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've heard other people turn for less. So.
I do have to say, to go back to the Battle of Winterfell, the scene between her and Tyrion was so sweet.
It was.
Oh, yeah.
Her hand. It was like, aw.
Yeah. The acting has been great.
I mean, it's like, out of a slew of terrible men that you've had to deal with.
Yeah.
He was the best
you
one.
were the least terrible.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
So then, should we go back to, I guess there is no predictions because we can't really figure out what's going to happen.
Yeah.
The death, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I think we watch and we chat about the end and if it was worth the commitment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everything up until it's worth it until this season, in my opinion. The last couple have had some major holes and some major issues, but this season is really has had some great highs. And visually, it's stunning and that kind of thing. But ever since they ran out of the source material, things have been going downhill. And that was midway through 5. Yeah. So there's been a lot of shit, omissions and things that they just kind of made up, and time travel and very fast travel and that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's been worth it. Even though it's going to suck that it's over and ends this way. There's already a petition online, people wanting HBO to recreate season 8 with different writers.
Yeah, they tried it with Last Jedi. It's not going to work.
Well, The Last Jedi should have been rewritten also. This was the Last Jedi of episodes.
Wah, wah.
No, this was the Lost. The whole show got the Lost treatment.
Brutal. So there, some of the best quotes, and I know I share this with you guys. Some of the best quotes was what was it? Either you die in Avengers Endgame or you live to become a season 8, episode 5 Game of Thrones. So good. Oh, and I have one. Go ahead if you guys have something to go through. I've got patch notes.
Oh, yeah.
Here with you guys.
Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Let me pull it up real quick. So if you've got something to fill.
Yeah, I think the same thing happened with Game of Thrones that happened with Lost. It became such a monster that no matter what, like, they just didn't know how to end it.
What kind of
correctly.
monster? Like a smoke monster?
Like a smoke monster.
Or
Hey,
like
there was a smoke
like
monster.
a fire-breathing monster? Okay.
Well, go
Melisandre's
ahead.
monster baby came and wrecked the ending.
Yeah. So here are the patch notes as seen on Reddit. Patch notes for episode 5. Number 1, Scorpions get nerfed. Significantly reduced accuracy, and the hero character Euron no longer gives a bonus to Scorpion accuracy. Number 2, Dragons get buffed. Speed and stealth have both been increased. They can now take the hide action while flying. Number 3, Dothraki have been added back to the game. Fans were upset about the removal, so they're back now. Number 4, battle times have been shortened. Complaints that the Battle of Winterfell lasted too long have been heard, so now battles last no longer than 5 minutes. Number 5, Northerners and Unsullied both have reduced honor and morality meters. It is now possible to commit war crimes with little or no provocation. Number 6, Cersei's speed has been reduced. She now moves sluggishly, if at all. Number 7, Euron's plot armor has been removed. Number 8, the Mountain's loyalty has been reduced for the introduction of the Clegane Bowl game type. And number 9, Arya's conviction has been reduced after complaints that she was too OP. Her plot armor has been significantly increased to compensate. So, being a video game nerd, that just
I
one
like
of the best memes I saw out of this whole
I
thing.
like it.
Yep.
All right. So, yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on Game of Thrones? Do you guys have anything that we missed? Anything that we could have talked on a little more? Let us know in the comments below. Other than that, we are the Rum Regret podcast. For now, keep your glasses full, and we'll see you on the next round.
Cheers.